Hey guys, this is Heroic Flamingo and welcome to my Guild Wars 2 class guide for the Reaper. So in this video we're going to be looking at the Reaper's exclusive weapon and looking at all of its new weapon skills individually, and we'll then be looking at the healing, utility and elite skills that the Reaper has at its disposal, as well as having a look at how it overhauls the profession mechanics for the Necromancer and how that affects it, and then we'll be looking at the elite specialization for the Reaper in detail, looking at each trait and seeing how that makes your weapons and skills even more powerful. So if you're interested in playing as a Reaper, or if you're already do and you want to know more, then sit tight and we'll get started right now. Okay, so before we get into it, I just wanted to give you a quick profession overview for the Reaper. So the Reaper is a massive force on the battlefield. It empowers itself enough to wield a cleaving greatsword to harvest its foes. Slow and hard hitting, these deadly combatants call out the impending doom of their enemies with piercing shouts. Upon accumulating sufficient life force, they can enter the Reaper's Shroud, a deadly form that grants them a dark scythe of malevolent energy and the abilities to match it. Capable of heavily afflicting their victims with chill and other conditions, the Reaper wades into melee, receiving and dealing blows, knowing nothing can save its foes. So basically, the main bits about the Reaper are that the fact that it's overhauled the profession mechanics for the Necromancer and replaced the normal Death Shroud with the Reaper Shroud, which is a more powerful melee based version, and we'll go into that in detail a bit later in the video. That's really cool. And also a new type of skill for the Necromancer called Shouts, which will affect all enemies around you, giving them negative effects and also some positive effects to allies as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Right, so now I want to have a look at the weapon skills for the Reaper. So the Reaper unlocks a whole new weapon for the Necromancer, and that is the Greatsword. So this is a melee orientated weapon that really changes the way the Necromancer plays, and it's really cool. So let's have a look at each of these individual weapon skills and try them out. So your number one ability is a chain ability, which means you have to do them one after the other, and if you interrupt the chain you won't be able to finish it. So always make sure you've finished the chain. So you've got Dusk Strike, Fading Twilight and Chilling Scythe. So first you cleave foes in front of you, and then you cleave foes in front of you again, and then you strike foes and chill them. So you're going to cleave them again, and then strike them, and you're going to put chill on them. So let's try this out on this golem right here. So cleave, cleave, strike, and then you see it chills. Really cool animation there. Boom. You imbue your weapon with ice and chill the enemy right there. So that's really cool. So that's your number one ability. So always make sure you play out that chain, because a lot of the damage of that ability is weighted in the final strike. So your number two ability is Gravedigger. So perform a huge swing that deals heavy damage. Recharges faster if it hits a downed or low health foe. Alright, it says there the health threshold is 50%. So effectively if they're below 50%, it's going to do even more damage. Just save this for someone who's low on health or even downed as well. So if I try this out, my number two ability, bang. Alright, really cool there. So it sort of lifts you off the ground there and does a lot of damage, and obviously even more if they're low on health. So just to clarify, both those skills are range 130 and range 180. So that they're both short range skills, so you have to do it pretty much at melee distance. So your number three is Death Spiral. So conjure a drill of dark energy on your blade and rend the armor of foes in front of you. So as you can see, this is going to be a decent amount of damage, and also it's going to inflict vulnerability on all the foes in front of you. So a number of targets, so up to 3 enemies as well, with a range of 240, so it's still relatively close. You don't have to be right next to them, but you're going to want to be relatively close. So let's try this out. Alright, so it's a cool stab ability, and you can see a bunch of stacks of vulnerability on the enemy there, so you want to probably lead with that and then maybe hit them up with a number two once they're below 50% health as well. Let's have a little look at your number four ability. So this is called Nightfall. So call down a growing column of shadows that damages and conditions foes every pulse. So this is a radius ability, so it's going to be cast around you. So let's have a look. So if I go up to this enemy, so see it pulses 4 times, intervals of 2 seconds, maximum radius 360, and it cripples and blinds enemies as well. So let's have a little look at how this affects this enemy. As you can see, cripple, blindness, damage as well. This is going to be everyone in this area as well. really did it to that guy as well. Really cool animation as well. So that's going to cast those shadows on the ground, and that's going to be pretty cool. Damage and conditions all together. Okay, so your final weapon ability is Grasping Darkness. So this is conjure claws of darkness from the shadows to attack foes, applying a condition to them and pulling them to you. Gain life force for each foe struck. So yeah, look at this. So it's going to put chilled on the enemy. It's going to give you life force. This is relatively long range, so 900, so that's pretty long range. And you're going to be gaining life force as well. So if I give that a go from here. Alright, as you can see, that knocked him towards me as well. So it sent away that way, and then it came back towards me. And that was pretty cool. So it put conditions on the enemy and pulls them towards you. So that can be pretty cool if you want to start with that and pull someone to within melee distance, and then use all your other melee skills to finish them off. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, so that is the new weapon skills for the Reaper. So now we're going to have a look at the new healing skill. Alright, so now we're going to have a look at the Reaper's new healing skill. So this is our first look at one of the Reaper's new shout abilities, which is a brand new type of skill that you can use specifically for the Reaper. So let's have a look. So this is called Your Soul is Mine. So heal yourself, gain life force, and strike foes around you, absorbing additional life force from each foe struck. So this is pretty cool. So it's not your normal healing ability, because it's also going to strike enemies as well. It's also going to give you life force, which is brilliant as well, because that's going to go towards getting your Reaper Shroud. So it's got quite a few effects: normal healing, life force, and hitting enemies around you. So let's give this a little crack over here, these guys, and see if we can attack these enemies. So hopefully I can hit them both. Bam. Yeah, so that's going to heal me, and it's going to heal me even more for the amount of people that I've hit. So if you're surrounded by enemies, do it using your melee weapon. Then whack that out, and that's going to damage all the enemies, heal you extra for that, and give you life force as well. So that's quite a few cool things that healing skill is going to give you. And if you look, 20-second cooldown, that's pretty good as well, so that's quite quick. So that's the new healing skill. So now I want to have a look at the brand new Reaper utility skills. Right, so now we're going to have a look at the exclusive utility skills that the Reaper has at its disposal. So let's have a little look. So in your utility skills here, you've got 4 new skills along the top here, all shout abilities. So let's equip the first 3 here. Alright, so the first one, let's have a look. This is called You Are All Weaklings. So it's a shout ability, and it damages foes around you and gain boons. Inflict conditions on foes struck and gain boons per foe struck. So this is all about putting conditions on the enemies around you and giving boons to yourself. So the more people it hits, then the more it's going to do. It's a radius ability, so 600 radius around you. So like with pretty much everything to do with the Reaper, it's more melee orientated, because if you're close to the enemies, then you're going to be able to affect them. So let's have a little look at how this does here. Alright, so really cool ability there. Sucks in from everyone there, so what you're going to be doing is putting weakness on them, giving yourself might, and like it says, inflict conditions on them as well, and gain boons per foe struck. So the more people you have around you, the more boons you're going to get there as well, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so the next one is called Suffer. So another shout ability, and this damages foes around you and chills them. Transfer conditions to each foe you strike. So once again, it's going to damage everyone around you, it's going to chill them, so it's going to reduce their skill recharge rate and their movement speed, can hit up to 5 people, radius of 600 around you, and it's going to transfer any conditions on you to each foe you strike as well. So a little added thing there. So let's try this out, stand between these guys, and give it a quick go. Alright, as you can see, it's chilled these 2 guys around me, and if they had any conditions as well, it'd transfer them over to them as well. So that's pretty cool. So they've all got a couple of effects. And obviously, if you're surrounded by enemies and you have a few shouts on your bow and you use them all, that's going to have a really good effect on them. Well, negative effect on them anyway, and a nice positive effect on you as well. So your third one here, Nothing Can Save You. So this is a shout ability. So damage foes around you, converting their boons into vulnerability. Your next few attacks become unblockable. gain additional unblockable attacks per foe struck. So this is going to put vulnerability, unblockable, remove boons, up to 5 targets with 600 radius around you. So this is really cool. So this is going to any boons that the enemies around you have got, they're going to become vulnerable, and then your attacks will become unblockable as well. So not only are they vulnerable, therefore taking more damage, they also can't block. So effectively you want to use this before maybe using your most powerful attacks. They can't block them, and they're going to do extra damage because they're vulnerable. So let's give this a quick go, try it out. Nothing to see. There you go, so that's going to do that. Stick vulnerability on the target, and like we said, it's also going to make your next few attacks unblockable, which is pretty cool as well. Alright, so let's quickly try out the last one as well. Alright, so now I'm out of combat, let's quickly swap this over. So if I swap over to the 4th and final new utility skill there, so this shout skill right here. So this is called Rise. So this damages foes around you and summons a shambling horror, plus additional horrors near each enemy struck. Shambling horrors absorb damage for their master as long as they are attacking. So this is really cool. So we're going to damage everyone around us, obviously standard, so it's a 600 radius ability around us. It's got a duration of 25 seconds, can target up to 5 people, and as you can see it reduces damage by 33% because they're being absorbed by the shambling horrors. And the more people you hit, the more shambling horrors you're going to summon. So let's give this a quick go now. Alright, as you can see, bunch of shambling horrors there. They're all going to attack the enemy, and as the enemy attacks us, the shambling horrors are going to absorb the damage as well. So that's a really good ability to increase your survivability as well. Really cool. 4 shambling horrors all at once there, doing damage to enemies and also taking damage as well. So that's really cool. So that's all of the utility skills for the Reaper. So now let's have a look at the new elite skill. Okay, so now I want to show you the brand new elite skill that's exclusive to the Reaper. So let's have a look. So right here, so obviously like all the others, it's a shout ability, and it's called Chill to the Bone. So bear in mind that elite skills are generally the most powerful skills on your bar, but have quite a long cooldown. So this one's got a 75-second cooldown. So this is going to freeze all enemies around you, inflicting conditions on them. Gain boons for each foe you freeze. So you see it's got some damage there. It's chilling enemies, granting stability to yourself, stunning enemies, and it can target up to 5 people, and the range is 600. So it's based around you, so obviously it's once again if you're in melee distance and you've got a bunch of enemies around you, use this. It's going to freeze them all, it's going to give you boons, it's going to give them conditions, so it's exactly what you'd probably expect. So let's try this out here. If I stand in the middle of these guys, try out my new elite skill. Boom. Excellent. So they're all frozen solid, they can't do anything. So if you do that on enemies around you and then unleash all the rest of your really good melee skills that you've got with the Reaper, you're going to be freezing them in place and then just smashing them and knocking them straight down. So that's really cool to integrate into your build. So that's the new elite skill. So now let's have a look at how the Reaper changes the Necromancer's base profession mechanics. Right, so now I want to show you the profession mechanics for the Reaper. So this is obviously down here, you've got the Reaper's Shroud. So if you've already played base Necromancer, you know that you'll have the Death Shroud here and you have your Life Force bar. So it doesn't really change it that drastically, so you'll still be quite familiar with it. But what it does is it completely changes the skills you'll get while in this Shroud and changes it to Reaper's Shroud, meaning that you basically turn to the Grim Reaper wielding a massive scythe and you deal all of the damage as melee. So you want to get close to the enemies. So this says assume the form of a Reaper and gain new skills, turning your life force into health. So like always, when you go into it, your life force will start to drain down, and you won't, and any damage you take will be on your life force rather than your health. So you're basically invincible for a short period of time, which is really cool. And you gain life force by killing enemies around you, and particular skills that say they're going to grant you extra life force as well. So if you can create a build around that, and you can build up your life force pretty quickly and spend a lot of your time in Reaper's Shroud. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Reaper's Shroud and have a little look at the abilities you'll get, because it will replace your first 5 thingy abilities, your weapon skills, and then we'll have a look at it in action, and I'll try out all of those skills. Okay, so because of the Reaper Shroud is time limited, I'm going to quickly show you these as screenshots and just go through it skill by skill. So your number 1 skill is a chain ability. So first off, you got Life Rend, then Life Slash, then Life Reap. So the first one, cleave foes in front of you. The next one, cleave foes in front of you again. I think you see where this is going. And the third one, cleave foes around you, gaining life force for each foe struck. So effectively you're going to cleave again, and then you're going to cleave everyone around you, gaining life force as well. So it's going to actually keep your Reaper Shroud going for a little bit longer. Alright, so your number 2 ability, you've got Death's Charge. So Death's Charge, slide forward, destroying projectiles in your path, blind foes at your destination. This skill inherits traits from Dark Path. Okay, so this is a 600 range one, so you can do it from mid-range. You'll slide forward, destroy any projectiles, and you'll blind foes at destination. And then, once you've done that, that will let you do the second one, which is Dark Pursuit, which is Shadow Step to the foe marked by Dark Path. Using this skill increases the recharge of Dark Path. So as you can see there, that's just a little extra thing there. Right, so your number 3 ability is Infusing Terror. So shroud yourself with dark armor that grants stability and reduces incoming damage. You may shatter this armor to fear foes around you. So you see you've got damage reduction there, you've got condition reduction, you've got stability, duration 6 seconds, radius is anyone relatively close to you, and you know that will be replaced by the skill Terrify for the duration of 6 seconds, which detonates your armor to make foes around you flee in fear. So that's going to fear the enemies, and then it's also going to chill them, because part of your specialization is it chills enemies when it fears them. So that's anyone within a radius of 360 around you. So that's pretty cool as well. Alright, well your number 4 ability is Soul Spiral. So this is spin and damage nearby foes and inflict a condition each strike. So this is going to be a pretty cool animation. So you're going to spin around with your massive scythe, and you're going to damage everyone around you, and also inflict conditions. So you can see poison condition, you've got damage. You can target up to 5 people, lasts for 3 seconds, and a radius of 300 around you. So that's pretty cool, and it's a really cool animation for it as well. And your 5th and final skill for the Reaper Shroud is Executioner's Scythe. So this is to deliver a powerful overhand strike to stun a single target, dealing increased damage the lower their health. Leaves behind an ice field. So damage at 50% or above, you see damage below 50%, so you see the lower the health the better. So it's a pretty cool finisher that you can use. It's a single target, so potentially if you're fighting a boss and on relatively low health, you can use this to try and finish them off. As you can see, shield effect, stun effect as well, leave behind an ice field, which is pretty cool, which is obviously going to affect everyone around you as well. So if you're fighting a boss, that will affect the ads as well. Right, so that's all of the skills. Okay, so now that we've looked at all of those Reaper Shroud skills, let's try them all out on this guy, the unlucky victim. Alright, so your chain ability, number 1, bam, there you go. Number 2 ability, really cool. Number 3, your number 4, really nice spinning ability there. And then your number 5 ability, smash. There you go. Perfect. Alright, so you can see that's a really powerful melee orientated Reaper Shroud there, which is a lot cooler than the normal Death Shroud. So a lot of builds are built around building up their life force and spend as much time in Reaper Shroud as possible. And then there's a lot of skills that you can use to boost your life force regen so that you can get into it really quickly. Alright, so that's the basic profession mechanics for the Reaper. So now we're going to have a look at the specialization and each individual trait. Okay, so now I want to have a look at the Reaper's elite specialization and the individual traits within it. So to turn your Necromancer into a Reaper, you just have to have the Reaper's elite specialization active as your 3rd specialization here. So just by doing that, you'll unlock these passive abilities here, and then you have a few choices. So let's have a look at all of these. So as you can see, you can wield great swords. That just comes with it. As soon as you stick it on this bar, you can start using great swords. And first up here, you've got Shroud Knight. So Death Shroud is replaced with Reaper Shroud. which is more melee orientated skills and consumes life force at a faster rate. Gain access to shouts. So this is the stuff we've just been through, basically the basics of being a Reaper. You unlock these new things, which is pretty cool. So here, your first choice, you've got Augury of Death. Shouts gain reduced recharge, now siphon health, and gain additional recharge reduction for each foe they hit. So this is going to make your shout abilities a lot better, and obviously as it's as this is based around shout abilities, that's going to be pretty good for the Reaper. Okay, so Chilling Nova. So critical hits against chilled foes cause an explosion that chills adjacent foes. So this just triggers Chilling Nova, which creates a nova at the target that damages and chills nearby foes. So effectively, if you hit someone who's chilled, or get a critical hit against someone who's chilled, then that's going to be pretty good. So if you've got high critical hit chance and you chill in a lot of enemies, this is probably good for you because it's going to make it even better. Okay, your last choice is Relentless Pursuit. So it reduces duration of movement impairing conditions. Additional reduction while in Reaper's Shroud. So yeah, so if someone's putting movement impairing conditions like immobilize and cripple on you, this is going to reduce the duration of them, and if you're in Reaper's Shroud, it's going to do even more. Okay, so you've got Shivers of Dread. So whenever you inflict fear, you also chill. So as you see in here, a lot of these are around chilling the enemy. So if you've got any fear abilities, you're going to add chill to that as well, so it's going to double up. So here your options are Soul Eater. So striking foes within the range threshold deals increased damage and heals you for a portion of the damage dealt. So damage increase 10%, healing 5%, range threshold 300. Okay, next up you've got Chilling Victory. So striking a chilled foe grants might and life force. See, if you focus on these, then you could basically make it so if if you're chilling a lot of enemies, you're going to be doing a lot of extra effects whenever you're hitting a chilled enemy. So you could really build your build, as it were, around that. And then your choice here, Decimate Defenses. Striking a foe with vulnerability increases your critical hit chance, and critical hit chance increased by 2% per stack. So if you're doing a lot of things, you've got like 10 stacks on them, then you're going to be increasing your critical chance by 2%, 20%, sorry, for the 10 stacks. So that's pretty cool, and that's just if you strike a foe with vulnerability, and generally you've got a lot of skills putting vulnerability on them, so that's pretty good. So here you've got Cold Shoulder. So chill lasts longer, and chilled foes take more damage from your attacks. So once again, linking in with the chilled theme, really good, making chilled even better so that you can utilize the effects from the other traits that you've got there. So here your final options, you've got Blighter's Boon. So gain life force when you apply a boon to yourself. If you're in Reaper's Shroud, gain health instead. So if you've got a lot of effects, so you're going to be putting boons on yourself, then you're going to be healing yourself at the same time, or giving yourself more life force if you're within or giving yourself health when you're in Reaper's Shroud, or normally life force. Okay, so you've got Deathly Chill. So chill deals damage over time. So if you've got all of these skills giving you extra chill and make it last longer, this is going to make them have bleeding on them at the same time as well. So that's going to be one that you're really going to want if you're focusing on the chilled part of the build. And finally, you've got Reaper's Onslaught. So gain ferocity and quickness while in Reaper's Shroud. Hitting with Life Reap reduces the recharge time of Shroud skills. So this is going to make your Reaper's Shroud even better, so you're going to have ferocity and quickness as part of it as well. And like it says, hitting with Life Reap reduces recharge time of Shroud skills. So recharge time reduced by 1 second, interval every 3 seconds. So that's really cool. So a lot of these are going to obviously make your Reaper's Shroud more powerful. They're gonna put chilled on the enemy, and they're gonna make chilled do extra things, and you can do extra damage when they're chilled. So it focuses a lot on that. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do there to make your Reaper even more powerful. So now we've been through the specialization. Now I just want to show you a quick combat demonstration. So I'll throw together a quick little Reaper build and then do a little combat demo, and then that'll be it. Okay, so I've thrown a quick Reaper build together. We've obviously got the Great Sword here, which is the Reaper specific weapon, and then with our other one we've got an Axe Focus, classic combo, and then along here I've got all Reaper specific skills, all shouts. So we've got the healing skill, 3 of the utilities, and the elite skill. So let's try this out, and then we'll have a little go with the Reaper's Shroud as well. As you can see, massive amount of damage there, especially with the Reaper's Shroud. Loads of really cool shouts to buff you, and a really good new weapon as well. So overall I'd say the Reaper is an excellent elite specialization to make the Necromancer even better. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. That's pretty much everything for the Reaper. If you've got any more questions about it, stick it in the comments. Obviously if you want to see a video showing off all of the classes and elite specializations together, then I've got a video on my channel doing that, and I'm also doing these on each individual class and each individual elite spec, so they'll be coming out soon, and some are out already. So that's excellent. So like and subscribe to be kept up to date. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.